Hey guys, Coach Jason, hope you're doing well. So the last video I talked about how to break 6 minutes for the mile, things that you should be doing or building towards to get under 6 minutes for the mile. Today I want to go over running a sub 5 minute mile, okay? Things or training progression or training paces, types of stuff that you should keep an eye out for or build towards if the next goal or short-term or long-term is to get under 5 minutes for the mile, okay? I have used stuff like this on a ton of athletes to get them under 5 minutes. Get them under 5 minutes for the mile, and it also help improve their longer races and shorter races as well. Okay. By the way, take a look in the description down below. There's gonna be two very important videos, and I mention them in all these videos. One is a 1 mile time trial. It gives you a really good idea of your current fitness if you've run about 6 to 8 or 10 weeks of base training prior to, and it also tell you what your equivalents are, so where you should be around for 400 and 800 and 3K and 5K. So you'll have a good idea. It'll give you a lot of training data as to whether you need to enhance the aerobic side or the speed development side or a little bit of both towards, so that you can lay out your training or the training of your athletes to get them to achieve their goals, okay, in a I call it a methodical way or a systematic way, which I think is really, really important, particularly as they start getting faster, okay? So I'll go into a little bit of detail on that today. By the way, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you're a coach or an athlete, I hope you enjoy just detailed training videos. If you do, be sure to subscribe to the channel right now and hit the bell next to it. My next video after this is I'm going to go over how to break 10 minutes for 2 miles, okay? And where you kind of need to be in certain components of the training, okay? Again, you might be a high volume component or low volume component. It depends on where you're at and where your athletes are at, okay? But some of the stuff that tells you here is, based on the appropriate paces as to where you should be for kind of the longer and the shorter races. So it'll give you a good idea of what you can build towards, okay? And again, always take a look in the description down below. Like I said, welcome to the channel. To my regulars, I hope you get some insight from this. And if you have feedback of your own, especially if you're a coach or an athlete, put them in the comments down below. I learn from you guys as much as you learn from me, okay? And I want to continue putting out good videos. I've got stuff from middle distance all the way up to the marathon, cross country, and they're all fully detailed training programs. I will say one thing: if you see videos like this with whiteboards and you want to write stuff down, make sure you watch the entire video, because I like to explain everything. I don't want you to just pause it, write it down, and then look for another whiteboard, and if you don't see one, click off the video. You're going to miss a lot of important details, okay? It's important that you watch the video because I do explain everything in all of my videos, okay? So I don't want you to miss important stuff that could come back later and say, ah, man, should have watched that video. I don't want you to regret that, okay? So with that, let's get to this, okay? I'll stand up here. Let's see if you can see my head. Angle this up a little bit. Okay. So to get under 5 minutes for the mile, your 800-meter performance should be around 213 to 215, okay? You should have a little bit of leg speed, okay? Your 3K should be around 945 to 943, and your 2 mile or 3,200 meters should be around 1028 to 1030, so it's about 514 to 515 per mile pace. Okay, about 15 seconds slower per mile than your goal mile. Okay, at this point, you should probably be running at least 6 days a week. Some folks will run 7, and with a combination of easy, steady, long, and progression runs, which I will go over into detail in a little bit. Okay, speed development is an important component to the training. Okay, I've seen far too many people emphasize too much of this at the expense of other things, or just do easy runs and super hard workouts, and it's at the expense of the development of people. And training at the right training zones is very, very important. Okay, and so that other video you'll see down below, aside from the 1 mile time trial, is making sure you're training at the right training paces based on what you run for the 1 mile time trial. Because the last thing you want to do is, if you're a 520 miler, training with the 440 milers isn't going to really do you the right justice right now, okay? Because sometimes you'll be hanging on for dear life for other folks, and whereas they'll recover faster than you, you might set yourself back at some point. So training at the right training paces is very, very important if you want to achieve your goal, okay? Especially consistently. It's no magic workout, no magic peak. It's just consistent progression over a long period of time, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is tempo run, okay? If this is not part of your training already, I highly encourage you to put it in, okay? And I'm using Jack Daniel's 20-minute template, okay? But I kind of build it up a little bit differently, okay? Whether it be building towards 20 minutes or 4 miles for the tempo, okay? And at this point, you want to be building towards 20 minutes at about 6 minutes to 5:50 pace, which is 50 50 to 60 seconds slower than your actual goal mile in a continuous way. How do I break it down, especially for young folks who haven't done them yet? I break it into 6 pieces, okay? Into three increments of 12 minutes, 16 minutes, and 20 minutes. But this is how I do it. The first time I have them do it, I have them do 2 times 6 minutes at tempo pace. So let's say it's 2 times a mile at 6 minutes, okay? With a 2-minute recovery, or 2 times a mile at 5:50, or slightly longer than a mile, okay? But the effort is 6 minutes long for a total of 12 minutes running. Then 2 weeks later, doing it again, but now doing 12 minutes consecutively if they can, okay? So we've gone to 2 pieces to 1. And 2 weeks after that, 2 times 8 minutes, so we're up to 16 minutes now. The same 2-minute recovery at the same pace, so the goal pace. And then 2 weeks after that, 16 minutes consecutively. 2 weeks after that, 2 times 10 minutes, okay, 2-minute recovery at the same pace. And then 2 weeks after that, 20 minutes consecutively. And what this does is it allows you to get used to the goal pace or goal pace ranges and build on that rather than trying to continually run 20-minute tempo runs, kind of pace might be all over the place or getting progressively slower or whatnot. This allows you to kind of build into it and even get to the point where you can do them progressively faster, okay? Ideally, you want to train to get progressively faster. So, but this is a great way of building towards a 20-minute consecutive tempo run, okay, at your goal pace. Now let's go to short reps. 200-meter efforts and 400-meter efforts. You're building to the point where you're doing 8 to 10 by 200 meters at 32 to 33 seconds each with a 1-minute recovery, okay? That's about 800-meter pace, okay? Then you're building towards 6 to 8 reps at 400 meters, also with building from 90 seconds down to 1-minute recoveries at 73 to 74 seconds, so goal sub 5-minute mile pace, okay? Longer reps. 800-meter efforts, building towards 5 to 6 reps at 238 to 237, 236, with a 2-minute recovery, which is 3K pace, okay? And then 1,000-meter reps, building towards 4 to 5 of them, okay, ideally 5 at 323 to 322, also with a 2-minute recovery, I should say 2, at 5K pace, okay? If you need to go a little bit longer in the thousands because you're not used to them, start at 3 and then work your way towards 2. That's fine as well. Okay, but now you see stuff at 800 meters, mile pace, 3K, and 5K pace. So if you break it down to let's say a 14-day training cycle, you could do stuff at 5K pace, 3K pace, mile pace, and 800-meter pace. You're giving yourself a multi-pace training cycle. Okay, and what that does is it sets you up for long-term success. I said it in my sub 6-minute video as well, which I put in the description down below as well. That's the last video, teaching how to run a sub 6-minute mile. Okay, it's important to address all these paces. You don't want to have just long stuff or slow stuff, or super easy runs and super hard workouts at super fast pace. You might be neglecting other systems of the body, and if you want to continue to progress, this is how you can do it. Okay, and this also allows you to get used to a 14-day training cycle and maybe repeat it again to give your body a chance to adapt within a 28-day cycle. For periodization purposes. It takes the body about 21 to 28 days to adapt before you start modifying training paces or increasing volume. Okay, that way, giving your body a chance to adapt, and you're not having to make drastic changes at the end, thinking if you do this, there's going to be some magic peak. It doesn't work like that. It's consistent work over a long period of time. Okay, that puts you in the right position. Okay, threshold training, which a lot of folks. I know a lot of folks that don't do, okay? And this is also a way you can alternate tempo and thresholds. A lot of ways you can do this, okay? 800-meter reps times 6 of them at 255 to 252, but with a 1-minute recovery, okay? So it's slower than 3K pace, obviously. And then 1,000-meter reps, 5 of those, or building towards 5 of them, at 339 to 337 with a 1-minute recovery, also slower than these. Okay, threshold pace is slower, but it has a shorter rest. So this is actually an opportunity to slow things down to help you get faster. As ironic as that sounds, but this is also an opportunity to kind of over volume too. You can do more of these. It's less invasive than race pace, so the recovery period can be a little bit quicker. Okay, you might be able to come back in 48 to 72 hours instead of 72 to 96 hours before another hard workout or a race. So. And it's also a good workout to kind of do during race week to kind of save the legs a little bit, okay? And like I said, multi-pace training cycle. These are the things that you incorporate. This is a great way of doing it, okay? And again, you can plug and match how in any way you want. You can even do a tempo run with some stuff at 800-meter pace on the back end of it. Okay, however you want to do it, but incorporating tempo runs, threshold runs, even if you do it, let's say a 4-week cycle like this. The first week, week 1, you go 5K pace workout, tempo run. The following week, 3K pace workout, threshold training. The following week, mile pace work, tempo run. And then the last week, 800-meter pace, threshold training. You've just done a 4-week cycle and incorporated all these things, okay? And that's a 4-week cycle, and you can repeat again if you want, okay? Or if a race tells you, or your athletes, that they're ready to increase training paces, then you let that happen too, okay? So there's a lot of ways you can build into the training. Long runs, depending on what kind of volume you're at. If you're 40 miles a week, then maybe 8 or 9 or 10 miles, depending on how you lay out the training. If you're running 30 miles a week, maybe 6 to 8 miles. Even if you're higher than that, 50 miles a week, no more than 10 miles. It's 60 miles a week, no more than 12 miles. Okay. 1 day off every 7 to 14 days within the training. Okay. That also allows you to kind of recover and train at the same time. Okay. So that, again, going back to not having to make drastic changes to the training. If you're training and recovering simultaneously, you're putting yourself in a good spot. You're putting your athletes in a good spot. Okay. And last but not least, training paces for this to get towards a sub 5-minute mile. Okay. Easy runs right now should be between 7:45 and 7:15 per mile. Okay. Or building towards that. Steady runs between 7:15 and 6:45 per mile. Okay. And then progression between these two, you start from the slow end at 7:45 and work towards 6:45. So instead of a 30-second range, there's a 1-minute range. Okay, that can be used as a workout on its own. You might be like a 5-mile progression run or something like that, and then a little bit of speed work at the end of it to teach your legs how to turn over when they're already tired. Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can do it, but these are the good training paces. Okay, that'll help get you to a sub 5-minute mile. Okay, and again, progressively building towards them. If you're not there yet, you could be a high volume proponent or a low volume proponent. It really depends on what you feel is most appropriate and how you can incorporate things. But this will tell you or give you a good idea of your readiness for that. Okay, so I wanted to share that today. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. And again, please subscribe to the channel. I want to make this into one of the best running channels out there. I change the environment sometimes, so I'll take it to the track or to the park or something like that. But for stuff like this where I'm giving specific details, I want you to be able to hear me without any distractions, and I want you to understand what I'm talking about. So if you do write this stuff down, don't just pause it and then write it down and then click off the video. Listen to the whole video, because and you'll see here, I kind of explained one thing and giving you details that is not on here. Okay, so and I don't want you to miss anything like that. So it's important to watch the entire video. All right. Always take a look in the description down below. Thanks so much for coming and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And be on the lookout for my next videos, how to break 10 minutes for 2 miles. So that's coming next. I'll talk to you then.